just like the last time. And Obey banning second. So same sides, different map. Nora's been taking a long time with their bans. Have you noticed?
They have been. They have been. I'm very interested to know, and I hope to talk to them afterwards. I'm very interested to know if it's because maybe they aren't the most familiar with the way that Obey plays. Now, they ban a Lion out. That seems like a no-brainer to me. Obey runs the Lion quite a bit. We've seen it in multiple matches, and like I said, there's no shortage of VODs on Obey. If you really want to do the groundwork for VOD review on Obey, you've got literally half a dozen matches that they played through the qualifiers to go back and look at their most recent compositions in a best-of-3 format.
Yeah, and at the same time, kind of interesting, we didn't... I mean, Lion, I guess, maybe not crazy useful on border. We saw him a little bit, I want to say, but not as much as you would have expected. I kind of feel weird saying that, Lion not crazy useful. I mean, he's universally useful, right? That's kind of how he works, but I guess Obey not favoring him on so much, Nora-Rengo on border at least, for whatever reason.
Nora-Rengo didn't run him at all, but we
did see him a little bit. I want to say, I'm pretty sure from Obey, just a little bit.
Oh, from Obey, absolutely. We've seen a number of compositions with Obey running a Lion. It looked like it was Bosco, I believe, who had
Echo?
flirted with the idea. Probably Echo. I would say maybe Maestro, but no, it's Echo, and that's going to be another target ban aimed at Benji too.
So
Echo is particularly pesky on Oregon.
It was just a change of a ying for a Lion. That was it, and it was different bans. You see, Nora banned Glaz in the first map, and now Obey's banning Glaz in the second map. So there's a clear understanding between these teams. They know what they don't want to play.
I mean, you also realize that how oppressive a Glaz and a Lion combination can be on this map.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that with both a Glaz and a Lion, it can enable a style of gameplay where you could potentially bring a Finka now, who has seen a change. She now has frag grenades, even though her ability is not quite as long. Her ability now only lasts 10 seconds instead of 20. But she also takes reduced damage to the smoke when her ability is active for those 10 seconds. So that's pretty paramount.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting operator. I don't know if we'll ever see her be fully relevant within the meta with the way she's set up, but who knows? I mean, I think there's definitely something unexplored there. It's got to be anyway.
I think the big thing with the way that Finka works out is she emboldens a style of play that is very all or nothing. Eggs in one basket, as you referred to it as before. And yeah, it's a very high-risk, high-reward style of gameplay, which we see a number of teams in Latin America, which is a region that sometimes will play, when they play each other, will build compositions around that all or nothing style of play. You know, you'll see a lot of Blitz, you'll see some Finka, you'll see a lot of Lion, you'll see Dokkaebi in particular. And it also, in response to that, we saw a disproportionate amount of Legion as well from Latin America as a region before Legion was a staple in most Defender compositions across North America, Europe, and now APAC as well. So that all or nothing style of play, as you mentioned about Finka, we'll see its uses, but you need to build an entire composition around it, which is not the easiest. And also, Finka doesn't really bring a ton of utility to Pro League players, you know?
Yeah, and as you can see, Obey not going to be using her at all in this round. Nora going for a top floor hold first, which is a little bit different. I mean, not really. Typical sites on Oregon, you got your basement, you got your top floor. This is what you're going to hold. What's going to get really interesting is where Nora chooses to go as a third site. They're going to go to tower. They're going to go to kitchen. What's the plan? What's the strategy? Can't wait to see it. But for now, Nora, very standard hold upstairs with those holes through the floor. They got the top of white. Instead of going for the rotation, they're actually just going to open up with an impact. The top of white you can see there. I like this decision. It's a little bit, it's not different really. It's just kind of a secondary, it's an option that some teams choose to use. They've also opened up the attic, which allows for a little bit of rotation if you have a meeting hall roamer. It also puts pressure. While it might not be active pressure, it does put subconscious pressure at least on Obey, and it forces them to have something to, if not hold, call out the attic roam.
Well, it's the same as what we just saw on border, which is then, you know, if you let's say Amir is in play and you open up that CCTV wall all the way in through offices, fountains, etc., you don't actually have to put physical pressure there because the looming threat is there with the mirror having that huge angle. So
yeah, half of the round.
Deceptively fast.
Yeah, we're already getting into the the second half, and Nora has a completely established defensive setup. They're going to start to call out where the push is coming from. They know it's going to be Armory. Likely Obey's already starting to open up that closet wall using the Hibana. They've already accomplished that, in fact. They've got Claymore set up. They've got all their players stacked. They're going to finally get the camera inside of Master. Good teamwork there. Shin has positioned himself kind of oddly. He's going to go for some shots through the debris. Misses them, though, onto Bosco, and will eat some in return. Rotation all the way into dorms. The pressure is really mounting here. 5v5. And
the execute is going to need to be swift, but Waka is in a great position to possibly capitalize. Skies will toss out a grenade, and it will find its target, but Mariu is there to dispatch Bosco. That was the Hibana trying to work their way through the Master wall. But look at this, Waka on a flank will take out my man who had just gotten a kill, and the phone calls will be ringing away, but there you can see Waka from below just tearing through them at the moment. He sees another, primes the C4. Will Waka be able to find it? No, it will miss. Mariu alone on site. He'll get downed. So it's all up to Waka, who'll push in, and we'll have 2 guns aimed at him, and that's Obey, despite Waka's best efforts, taking the round, and Obey will open things up quite well. I like that Obey immediately, by the way, subs out the Lion and just runs with the Dokkaebi instead.
Yeah, and the ultimate, like, the thing that it boils down to me, or for me in that round, was just 20 seconds left.
Right.
Going for a push. It's going to be a brawl. And if I'm going to pick a team who's going to win a brawl, it's going to be Obey. Obey's going to win that brawl. So we really needed to see a little bit of initiative there from Nora for them to establish an advantage before the actual brawl started, anything at all.
Right.
And it just didn't happen. Waka was in an interesting position as well. You saw him get those first 2. Very well played, very good position to get that. But then the third potential kill, he saw the heartbeat. He chose to go for a C4 on someone he could not C4. There was a hard wall between you and your opponent there, and he anticipated a push above him, but he also had pre-made holes that either he or his teammates had established early in the round.
Too for just a second,
and he could have seen his opponent. So all he needed to do is, if you're anticipating a push above you, then keep your gun out. Don't pull out a C4.
That was, I think that was a mistake. You know, you could see the body trying to maybe fight through those metal bars, something he didn't want to be trifled with, sure, and then thinking, I still have some utility left, I can use it. But the problem is that as he did that, Mariu's getting pressured from inside of, you know, small dorms, and Waka now needs to make a decision, I need to get back to site. So that could have also been a good realization to him as he throws the C4 up. I'll trigger this, but I have to get back to site to help out.
It's also Pulse downstairs. If he didn't use it, waste a C4 with 15 seconds left and only 2 attackers. Now on dorms, it's hard to find a spot really where you're not going to be exposed to a Pulse. In fact, I don't know off the top of my head if there even is one. So you're looking at a situation there where you're going to have to plant exposed to that C4, and if he had just maybe kept a C4, stayed downstairs, maybe if he got the kill on the Zofia or even done some damage through that open hole that his team had put up, maybe it could have been a clutch from him. I mean, you know, it's a lot of critique for one player. He did a lot of work in that round. Ultimately, if you want to boil it all down to the real issue, the rest of Nora got shredded without doing any work.
You know, the push and the execute that came through the Master closet and then Armory side, or was working itself in, and it was literally just Obey constantly taking ground away from Nora-Rengo. They were pushing. Yep. They were pushing. There was no resistance whatsoever from the Japanese, and it just allowed Obey to take all of that away from them. And then you fight for a retake, which I feel like we say repeatedly is how difficult it can be for a team to fight for that retake. You know, a Pulse is not a bad operator, but the UMP is one of the lowest DPS guns in the entire game. It's not exactly a weapon that you want in your hand to take on multiple enemies, unlike some of the other Defender weapons.
Now, Waka did manage to make it work for a couple kills, so good on him. Oh yeah, you might be able to plant. I was racking my brain for a little bit there. You might be able to plant on that little dresser in the doorway to dorms from the hallway.
Right.
So I think maybe there are some ways you could be unexposed to the Pulse. But regardless, it's all in the past now, and we'll see what the future holds. After Obey takes their first round attacking onto kids' dorms, we are going to see, looks like a site rotation from Nora they go downstairs.
All right, so Obey re-enters the game as we now have Nora-Rengo's name added, and we'll see them take that 1-0 lead that we needed them to get in order to keep this competitive. And like I said, this is a map that Obey feels very comfortable at. Unfortunately, for us, against international competition, not a lot of data available as to how Nora-Rengo plays on here. But gifted a start on defense, which, fair enough. Defense on Oregon is usually quite rote. Unfortunately, because of the way that the site selection works now, they're going to be in a position where you're going to have to defend either kitchen or tower, which obviously is never really something you want to find yourself in, but
that's what we're waiting for, right?
We're essentially waiting to see if there's going to be a successful defensive round win. But I mean, hey, you just have to win one defensive round. If you don't want to go to kitchen, just don't win on defense. Ha.
You can't go to an offside if you never win on. I mean, you can, I guess. You shouldn't go to an offside if you never win on defense. Or maybe you should, actually. No, I mean, sometimes you want to get the mix-up. Anyway, that's all just theory crafting at that point. But so far, Obey have been able to get that top floor push. It was a round, I want to say, that Nora should have been victorious in. I mean, they had the perfect formula for success there. It seemed like they were well established. And now that they're going downstairs, I want to see what their interpretation will be. You can already tell that they're pretty heavy on the roam. Two, in fact, very deep on the west side. Shin all the way in Junk Tower, and I believe another that's Waka playing inside of dorms. This is a very dangerous roam. They also don't have the dorms drop open, which means Waka cannot rotate into Meeting Hall late in the round. He is committed to this hold. He's also taken a lot of his ADSs with him, which means those grenades, those potential smokes, when they go down on the push, they're not going to be countered by too many ADSs.
This is something from Nora-Rengo that we've seen in Atlantic City, and now we see here is it's just things that don't really happen in other regions, which is nice. That kind of...
Well, it's the APAC, right?
Right. The APAC.
Well, the you know what I mean, the APAC
the
meta.
APAC.
I did. No, but it is. It's the APAC meta. It's just a little bit different. It's isolated. They get their own stuff.
But that sort of thing, you know, when you're not constantly competing against other teams, that kind of, you know, regional meta or pocket meta, as some people will call it, is it's good because, I mean, we still find new ways for operators in different holds and different angles through maps that have been in the game for ages. Now, once again, we mentioned deceptive last round. We're at 1 minute to go. Nobody has died once again. I think the term you used to describe it was a brawl.
Yes.
That definitely seems like we're going to have that right now.
And again, if I'm going to, you know, give someone the credit or the edge in a brawl, it's Obey. Now, this is a really tricky one when you're dealing with a two-lane push into the basement hold, and you got gas canisters, C4s, Legion traps. This is not going to be easy for Obey, but here it comes. So here come the Zofia lifelines over the walls. Shin, what a shot onto my man. That had to have been a pre-fire. And the follow-up C4 for Shin. 2 easy kills, and now Skies with an early response onto Waka. What a shot from him. He does get hit by Legion and downed by JJ. Finally finished off as well. Benji pushing in. We'll see Crazy right in front of him through the smoke. Maryu, though, gets Benji, leaving just Adam in a 1 versus 2 as he gets one onto Maryu. Shin, though, finally shuts him down. The brawl goes in favor of the Japanese, but it was oh so close.
Very narrow there, and it's just a bit too late for the push that we saw from Obey. They took a little bit too much time.
You know, the big thing for me was also that Obey did not clear any of the roamers. You had 2 that could late flank in through Meeting, and late flank they did. Easy success after that. Kind of an interesting strategy from Obey. I mean, they clearly know what their edge is, and that's the raw skill, and they're trying to capitalize by forcing a push through the construction tower, but it's not working out for them.
Shin read that very well, knowing that there was going to be that construction push, right? You know, he was able to get what a beautiful pre-fire that we saw, and then followed it up with an immediate C4, assuming that there would probably be somebody else from Obey that was also playing in that position. I believe it was Bosco who got taken out by the C4. Then you find yourselves in, you know, a 3v5, and at that point, the clock management was totally in favor of Nora-Rengo, and we said this. You got 5 people alive on either side of that field with a minute to go. Still haven't cleared out the roamers. You don't have full top control over the basement whatsoever. That's Nora-Rengo just saying, okay, bring the fight to us. We might lose a couple, but we're still going to end up prevailing. prevail they did. You know, it ended up being Adam in vain gets 1 kill, low impact, and then the rest was just Nora-Rengo realizing that we got the clock on our side and we still have 3 bodies to 1. At that point it became 2 bodies to 1, but hey, they stuck it out.
I mean, the attack strategy, the attack strategy from Obey there was the same attack strategy they had in the previous round, just different site. It's the 2-lane meta. It's the, you know, hey, we're going to open this up and we're going to push together for 2, you know, parallel lanes. And hopefully it's going to work for us. And again, it comes down to the fisticuffs. And this time, Obey lost it. And you could point a finger at a number of different things. We could use hindsight to say, oh, this is why they won, this is why they lost, and blah, blah, blah. And it's true. You know, there's always going to be little things. But ultimately, those little things are so close to each other that it's hard for teams going into a strategy like that to predict the outcome. It's hard for them to anticipate something that their opponents are going to throw at them because, again, it's just, you know, it's a low, down-to-the-ground brawl. And anyone could win that. It comes down very much to chance.
We do have an update, by the way, so plug your ears if you don't intend to know, because there are spoilers ahead. The French, Vitality, taking map number 1 off of Team Liquid, find themselves in a position to possibly close it out in 2 maps, depending on how the second map is going to go for them. Keep in mind, they are in the same group stage as Obey and Nora-Rengo, so the winner of this match will play the winner of that Liquid Vitality, and the loser of this match will have an even more difficult task, which is going to be playing the loser of that match. So, yeah, you mean, do you want to win or do you want to lose? You're going to be fighting a pretty good team no matter what, but that's going to be the same way with every single bracket here.
Right. I think a big part of it is, you know, they want to win. They want to move on because they want to be considered the best. You know, like it's a pretty big thing to win a match at a Paris major.
I do think most teams came to this event with the intention of winning.
Yeah. If
I do think that.
If I'm not mistaken,
that is my hot take for the day.
But you're right though. if you do win this match, you're going up against a pretty fierce opponent. Now
you saw once again the 2 ADSs that were placed down inside of the bathroom. With the Pulse playing in that position, which is Waka. He's taken some damage. Mariu, as the smoke, will be the first casualty for the defense, which is not ideal. We're back down to about 1 minute to go, and the first kill going in favor for Obey. But you see Shin right now on the flank as Nora-Rengo's getting beaten up. Another phone call will come out, and Shin will be on the move, but the diffuser goes down for Obey, and they are in full control at the moment.
Seems like Nora is really struggling to defend this top floor. This is a pretty much unrecoverable round, especially as Benji gets Waka. I really don't anticipate a comeback here. It's probably going to be a pretty easy shutout. Shin going to need to push up these white stairs. He will not get the first kill for his team. And a completely perfect take there from Obey, I want to say.
Look at the bodies and the carnage. Could have simply thought it was just another, corpse.
Honestly, Nora's struggling really hard for that with that top floor. It's something they're going to need to work on because there is no optimal third site on Oregon. So if you're not able to win the 2 staples, then you're going to struggle in the map overall. And those 2 losses on the top floor now for Nora is going to put them in a position to lose once they go into the second half, because I seriously doubt Obey is going to have that same difficulty holding the top floor.
They'll have another crack at it. We'll see how it'll work.
I mean, they have to.
They're going to be running, yeah. I mean, unless they want to roll out a kitchen or a possible tower. I mean, there are some teams, though, in all fairness, that do trot out a kitchen or a tower off of the second opportunity to do so. Vitality comes to mind as a team that will run the gamut here on all the different sites. Something very interesting happened with that 6 pick, and it's oftentimes the 6 pick is usually just done so, they're running a lot of gadget-based operators, let's run an IQ, we don't have one picked, yada, yada, yada. Nora-Rengo originally had Waka playing that dock, locked in, and just as it was about to hit the final moment for you to pick your operator, he switches to a Vigil, and then 6 picks onto the dock, so deliberately keeping that ACOG a secret.
I mean, kind of a secret.
Well, they'll figure out the dock is there. I mean, at the same time, like, the dock is not going to be counter-picked. You're not going to counter-pick a dock if you see one. But if he manages to evade the drones, and
that's why, I guess.
That's why. Well, apparently he did. Waka with the spawn peek. So long, my man, the Zofia doesn't make it out of spawn. that's my man. He'll sit in purgatory for 3 minutes until the next round pops up.
Good call there, Parker, on the keeping the ACOG secret. Really knocked that one out of the park, and it was indeed Nora's intention. So, setup from Nora after getting that early kill, and I think that's not supposed to happen, but it's all right. Maryu is able to come in and save the day with his shotgun.
It actually looked like a number of those shots from the Deagle were going through the same shot holes that were bullet holes that were there and hitting the ceiling above it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that can happen.
They changed the Deagle's spread as well. That was one thing that didn't go noticed. That kind of went unnoticed, was that the Deagle did receive a pretty substantial buff, and the fact that its recoil is much more manageable, its spread is a little bit tighter. Of course, it has pretty unsightly pretty unsightly iron sights on it. Shin is going to walk down with Waka, toss a Valkyrie camera out, and Skies is here, has a gadget that can find the Valkyrie cam, but I don't know exactly if he's suspecting a possible peek through that window of showers, but no, you can see from the silhouettes that right now Nora-Rengo has fallen off.
It would be interesting to see him whip out the electronics detector and get the camera right in front of him. Hopefully he will do that in time. You can see this is actually a kind of a regression here for Obey. They've stuck Skies on IQ and put him on flank watch. He's watching for the run out. That is his job. Again, it's just not ideal, but he will get a kill on the JJ. Very impressive long shot there onto the Jaeger. You see, when you put Skies in a spot where he can get the kills, he will get those kills.
This is how they roll Skies out on Oregon too, is that they deliberately put him on a lot of people will, I think, incorrectly refer to as, similar to baiting, but in all reality, what he's doing is he's not baiting anybody out. He's just waiting and capitalizing off of good reads. Waka seeing the feet of Adam and will be able to pick away at it, but doing minimal damage. Adam, who is on the drone, will, of course, reposition himself, so he doesn't have to get shot away at the ankles, and he'll see the dock, and I don't know why Waka bothered to peek that at all, but Adam, a good shot to clean that one up.
Waka's been doing that a lot, actually, throughout this match. In the previous map, he did peek a lot of really
puzzling,
foolish angles, and it cost him and thus his team quite a lot. Benji will also get Maryu, so Obey in the driver's seat here. 4 versus 2, but only 13 seconds. As Shin gets taken down, though, that's going to leave just Crazy, and Bosco shuts him out. So time on the side of the defenders, but the attackers with that manpower just going to clamp down on the round, and Obey put it at 3-1 in their favor.
Oh, you see the new elite sets, by the way.
I missed it.
We saw it earlier on. The Zofia was running the elite or the pro, not elite sets, the Pro League skins.
Oh,
Sophia was running the new Pro League skins.
I was like,
we saw it on the Vigil gun as well, and there was Dokkaebi actually has a beanie with a little pom pom. I did
not catch that, but I do like a pom-pommy beanie.
We are currently casting into the back of a moving van, by the way, in case you were curious. We are going on a trip.
We're going to start barrel roll soon here, I'm sure.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point. But
3-1.
Obey has looked really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And they know how to use Skies here on this position. They're not running Skies in the same way that they were running Bosco on IQ. And then they're just letting the rest kind of do cleanup and if needed, then Skies can do cleanup himself.
I do really like, so we were talking about and critiquing Skies just being too on that flank watch and just basically a gun sitting in a corner. And he managed to, instead of just sitting on that bus throughout the entire round, he pushed over to Junk Tower window and he popped JJ. He just made an advantage for his team. So major props to Skies, reading the situation, understanding he doesn't need to sit out there and just wait, and taking that initiative, giving it to his team.
I mean, as long as you are conscious of how you're using your various teammates, then it's not necessarily a detriment to your team.
Right.
They've obviously determined, and right now it's working. So why would you bother to change it? But they've obviously determined that putting Skies on IQ in comparison to the way that Bosco was doing it on Border is it's for more of a frag-oriented position than it is on Bosco, who was, oh, that's rough.
That's unfortunate there for Shin. Bad timing.
You don't get that one back, yeah.
Yeah, it's gone for good. But regardless of that, I mean, he's still going to have the camera outside, and maybe the first camera will be a bit of a bait. You're like, oh yeah, you got my camera, bummer, and you'll still have that one further back. So we'll see. Regardless, it's not actually going to matter. Looks like Obey is going for another construction tower take. Very, very thorough droning you can see going on right now, and the eventual push will come in force, I'm sure, onto tower. Meanwhile, Nora has a very open focus on the west side, as they've done in the past. You can see that camera is going to survive, actually, but again, there's nobody for Shin to kill right now, because Obey is entirely focused on the other side of the map. This is interesting, because this is a defense being set up to hold a main lobby push, and an attack that's nowhere near the main lobby. You can see there's Skies there, kind of interestingly by the front door. Kind of a very long angle for Shin, a difficult shot to hit, and Skies is just going to leave. He's just going to walk away from that front door. He doesn't need to be there. You
can't use, and I know we've been focusing on him a lot, but I think it's very interesting how they use Skies as, you know, a player, but you cannot allow a flank watch with a Ying. You cannot allow that that utility to go squandered. You know, her 3 Candelas that she can toss out are very, very powerful. Yeah. They can completely disable a defense if used correctly.
We also have to say, you know, when we point a finger at Skies and it's like he's in an odd position for his operator, that's not necessarily his call. So keep in mind, of course not. You know, it's just something we're making an observation on where the positioning is. Now, all that aside, 1 minute left, so we've been saying a lot of deceptively slow rounds here, and Obey have set themselves up for that actual push, but Mario going to get the first kill onto my man.
And just waiting for them to work their way in. They'll go for a reset here, but I don't think they realize that the execute is much closer to them than they anticipate. Don't know if they're going to be able to get the down on the smoke. Mario might just have to truck on with the final minute to go at very low health. They did get the kill onto my man. That was the Zofia, who was removed from action. But you've got the Candelas and you've got the phone call. Skies is going to work his way in. He does have a goo mine in, but 2 kills for Skies with the Candelas aiding him. Benji there as well, and this is all Obey. Nora-Rengo left with 1 man standing. The Jaeger of Waka currently playing on stairs will have to work his way down. Diffuser goes down. He'll get some pings from his teammates, but sees the head of the Ying. Tries to go for a bobble there, but no. Skies will get the kill in the first split of Oregon. 4-1 in favor of Obey, a commanding performance, looking to even this one up and send us to bank.
So if you're wondering, if you're new to Rainbow Six Esports and you're wondering why teams ban Ying so much, that would be why. When you're getting into a situation where it's just a pure brawl and you're pushing through 2 little lanes like that, and if you've got a Ying available to you, she's probably one of the best, if not the outright best operator to have on attack. There's not much the defense, well, there is little to nothing the defense can do to counter you. The only thing they could do is shoot the Candela, have the Candela hit a batteried wall or barbed wire, or have a Jaeger ADS catch it. So it's not great.
So we're seeing here one of the new things that was added in response to the shellacking that Nora-Rengo took in that first split. They're going to use one of their tactical timeouts, and they're going to regroup. It's something that's been added. It was added in Atlantic City, so now teams at the Season 7 finals had an opportunity to pause, talk with each other, possibly get anything they need, water, etc., hand warmers, go on. Basically, it's just an opportunity for them to communicate with their coach. Now, as you can see, the coach/manager is not able to communicate and is not allowed to communicate with the team during live action in between rounds, typically reserved only for between maps. When you take a tactical timeout, it allows the team to confer with their coach/manager, possibly motivational purposes. And if I'm Nora-Rengo, I need some motivating right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're down 4-1. That is not great. You know, on the first map, Border, it was a back and forth, you know, punches being thrown and no one really getting the clear edge. But here, Obey has it. Obey has that edge, and they are looking to hold on to it. I'm sure that during this tactical pause, while Nora is looking for options, exploring their mistakes, and trying to shore up the defense, now they're going to have to switch to attack and have the strategies ready. Meanwhile, Obey, they're probably just feeling very comfortable with their position right now.
And Obey, of course, can be fearsome when they're playing on defense. They've got good roaming potential, and then, of course, the site play as well. With the Echo constantly being banned, it usually forces Benji onto other operators. We saw him playing Maestro an awful lot on Border. It looked like it was going to be the Maestro from Skies, but we'll now switch the next 10 seconds to Ella. So Ella, of course, an operator who once used to cause a great amount of fear into the hearts and minds of attackers. Still obviously a very powerful operator, but just rolled out and deployed differently. Of course, the way that a lot of people will play Ela is you'll lock down a certain area and focus on guarding that, you know, with the Gizmat mines, and then of course that Scorpion being able to take multiple attackers at close range.
And that's really like the name of the game with the Ela. It's the close range. Sky's good at gauging his fights, really be able to know the distance that he can and cannot fight people in, and we'll see him, I'm sure, utilize Ela properly. Meanwhile, the rest of the setup, you can tell it's going to be upstairs, which is a little bit different. You have, though, on Nora, a lot of disruption. You could see you've got JJ on that Ying, which, again, an operator left unbanned, going to aid the attack quite a lot. You've got the Dokkaebi coming out as well. You got to imagine, even the grenades from Sledge, you got to imagine this is going to be a west window push. You know, stack up on west window, throw in some smokes, throw in the Candelas, throw in the nades, and just absolute disruption, destruction, and on a total like assault on the west window. You could also do that through Master. I mean, whatever the case be, it's going to be a hard rush.
It did look like it had the makings of a construction rush had it been downstairs, had the bomb site been in laundry supply room downstairs.
Could have been.
You got a Ying, you got a Dokkaebi, you got a Sledge. Sledge obviously seeing a lot of play on construction rushes as long as you've got at least one soft wall in around bunker to possibly push in.
Typically, I would say if you're going to go for construction rush, you're going to bring a thermite too.
As well,
but Nora hasn't been favoring the thermite. Even on border of all maps, they choose to bring Hibana typically. I
think they only brought a thermite 2, maybe 3 times at most, if I recall correctly. Sky's playing in the back tower will get a punch hole into the window and then go for a couple shots onto the roof. Will not find his intended target, will soak up some damage before scampering off, losing about half of his life in the process. Not exactly ideal for you to use an Ela at such a distance. Of course, the recoil on that Scorpion makes taking long fights kind of uncomfortable.
Come on, guys, I was just talking about how good you are at gauging those fights. But no, he is playing a very long angle over in tower. You're right, it's not the best spot. He has rotated, though, very wise, over to kitchen. Interesting use of the Candelas all the way into dorms, and it doesn't look like there's actually anyone holding this.
Nobody.
Crazy gets 2, Waka gets another. What is happening right now? Obey trying to retake into the site. Waka gets his second of this round, a third with the pistol downstairs. What? Too many roamers for Obey, an easy read for Nora, and a complete collapse onto the top floor. We have not seen Nora play like that once this entire map.
I'm perplexed that there was nobody playing in dorms. Either they fell out, but they're, you know, you saw Crazy and JJ both worked their way in through dorms, the small dorms, rappelling in the window, tossed the Candelas. The way that the ADS was positioned over by the door didn't catch at least 1 or 2 of those Candelas. They had full site control. As you mentioned, too many roamers, but that's not that unorthodox. We saw lots of teams that will defend down in kitchen or defend down in bathroom, but what do they have that Obey didn't have access to when you're playing from below? A C4. If you're going to be playing below, you're going to be doing it likely with a Pulse or a Valkyrie. We've seen teams do it with Mute, even though that's quite rare. If you want to play underneath the site, you do it armed with explosives, so that if they take control of Kidstorms, you can stop that plant. Now, at the same time, 1C4 is not going to exactly be able to stop the trampling that just happened, and that was Nora-Rengo's best round by a country mile, but that also looked like one of Obey's worst rounds. I don't know what Obey was trying to do exactly. That roam game was way too loose and disconnected, and they just droned out the site's ours for the taking.
Yeah, I want to say that's the power of a timeout, right? A tactical pause, to call a strategy and clearly coordinate it. But at the same time, that could have also, just as you say, it could just be, hey, they're not holding site.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but then the Candelas come out regardless in dorms. So I don't want to. I don't think it was a call. I can't really. Obviously, we can't know. Only Nora-Rengo knows. But regardless, a good execution, and now Obey gonna choose to go downstairs after that failure upstairs.
They just absolutely crushed them, but take a look at this. I had suspected that this might be a construction rush style of deal. Everybody from Nora-Rengo spawning on over by construction, but they're focusing a lot on tower, which isn't really outside of the ordinary. The only member of NR that is not is Waka, who is currently all on his lonesome. And of course, if you're entering as Ashe, you can conceivably entry as Ashe solo, especially the way Waka has played previously. Though, I will say, his penchant for peeking every single thing, not sure why it's happening. Crazy Papillon will get kill number 1 onto Benji, the Maestro. Will be killed on the backstairs. My man will send out a C4. That's some airmail. Will not be caught at all. He will get back to site as he utilizes the drop hatch that is in the meeting hall that is quite conveniently opened up. These mute jammers could possibly be a great headache depending on how Nora responds. They don't have a Thatcher on the board, the SAS operator that they did have with Sledge, but Adam as the Jaeger will lose almost all of his HP playing inside a meeting, but will be rewarded with the kill. He'll now tussle with Waka through the main door. I think he realizes with so little health, you can at least try to take somebody down with you in the process, but we'll get nothing as Mario is able to eliminate Adam.
I like that Waka opening up the doorway without opening up the doorway. If you didn't know, bullets and melee damage onto barricades don't really stack perfectly. So, yeah, good read there from Waka, and that's going to allow him to get in without being too loud. However, there is still a Skies at the bottom of the main stairs holding firm, and he's dead focused on this. With the shotgun, it's pretty much an unlosable fight for Skies. He would have to miss pretty drastically. He's going to hear that reload from Waka, and this is just a bit of a standoff. Skies perfectly playing this. He's got his ADSs, he's got his mute jammer, he cannot be droned out, he has every advantage, and he's got to hold to the flank from a man. Because if he doesn't, it's going to cost his team a lot. Not on the jammer, though, and the phone call is going to give away his position. Oh, he misses, and 2 for Waka! What a flank! Bosco shuts him down, though. Maryu gonna get that final kill, and a perfect play from Nora-Rengo, and timing is really the name of the game there. They handled it spot on.
What a position. And once again, we see that Hibana coming out from Nora-Rengo with the Supernova. So we do have the shotgun available on Hibana, foregoing the Type 89, which, of course, has a bit of a small magazine. Some people have said that it doesn't feel like a consistent weapon. I think that, personally, it's fine. But we know that the way that Nora-Rengo usually likes to use that Supernova on Hibana is to open up angles so that the XKros can then be used from a possible greater distance away. I wonder how effective a Supernova is on Oregon, though, because it doesn't seem like on most sites there's a wealth of destructibility that you need to get to or get through before you can get to the reinforcements.
I mean, I'm thinking about good maps for that setup in Consulate on Z.
Possibly Border.
Yeah, Border.
But even on Border, I don't believe they were running the Supernova, so it's...
Yeah. It's a little bit weird.
It is a little bit weird. However, Nora-Rengo has now put together 2 very commanding rounds back-to-back, and this gap that was a 4-1 has narrowed quite significantly.
Yeah, it looks like Nora has finally woken up on Oregon. Clearly their attacks are the favored. I mean, they're not very comfortable, I guess, on defense, and now that they have these strategies that are... Again, I want to say this is the power of the timeout, because it seems like they're much more in tune with each other and what they're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. The first round, in all fairness, the first round of this half, I have to say, was more of a blunder from Obey than I think it was a real strength from Nora-Rengo. That was when Obey had completely vacated the site and Nora-Rengo just worked their way in. You got to give credit to Nora-Rengo for reading that and reacting accordingly.
No, I want to say even if Obey had enough presence on the site, then it would have been a successful Nora round. Because I mean, look at what the take was onto those windows. It was complete Candela blindness. You know, if right. You're sitting inside of dorms, you are blind. We saw the top down for that, and those Candelas were hitting every inch of that site. So even if there were Obey players inside of dorms, even if that anchor had existed, I think he would have just died. I gotta give credit to Nora for that one. I mean, but it was definitely a blunder for Obey having too many people far field. So I mean, it's a bit of both.
A little bit of column A.
A little bit of column B.
A little bit of column B. Now, as we work our way through the first minute of round number 8, Nora-Rengo in probably the best position they've had to tie this up so far.
Yeah.
In the matchup, of course, they were obviously tied up through rounds 1 and 2, or through rounds 2, as it was 1-1. But then after that, Obey exploded with 3 consecutive rounds. We find ourselves, though, in a position where Obey could possibly be handicapped quite a lot by this Echo ban. And that's something that I'm very curious about. They ran the Maestro last round. The cams got hacked almost immediately. They lost the Maestro cams.
Yeah.
Not really a useful situation to find themselves in. And of course, Echo's yokai cannot be hacked, so that is an advantage as well.
Yeah, and Dokkaebi in general, like, you know, you're not going to get the buzz. That is huge.
Right.
As an individual player, because Nora has been leaning heavy on those phone calls. I mean, in that last round, Waka would not have been able to get that double kill if not for the phone call. Even if Mute had been sitting on one of his jammers. Imagine that.
If Skies had been on the jammer with the shotgun out, which Mute's shotgun is always interesting to see. Skies is going to get a phone call as he works his way through the back tower stairs with just about a minute to go. As good a time as any. Waka looks like he just narrowly misses the smoke of Bosco playing inside of big dorms. But hard to tell if...
oh, no!
Hard to tell if... Nobody took any damage there at all. For the record.
Yeah.
Complete miss from both Shin and Skies will miss one another, but that will at least preoccupy the Dokkaebi. Right now, situated by the window into tower. Candelas will be going off, though. JJ works his way in. He's going to be taking a lot of damage from the smoke. He'll have to hop back out. That could have possibly been a successful push, but Mario will go down. Skies now trades that one off as Bosco is eliminated earlier on. Benji working his way through white stairs. You see some damage. He'll finish one off. That's JJ. So long. And Crazy now eliminating Adam. So they're tying each other off. Waka will sprint right in. He'll take out Benji, and only 2 left for Obey right now. But big question mark. Skies is here to possibly greet one. They go for a trade, but Skies can't land all the shots. Crazy Papillon down. Maman almost eliminated. They'll need to grab that diffuser. Waka picks it up and will have to push in towards the site. But Shin, a big double kill out of nowhere to tie this up. Nora-Rengo right now, very much alive, still in this, and Obey is letting their lead slip away.
What a weird round. That was a very, okay, let's break it down. We had a lot of roamers from Obey.
As is tradition.
As is tradition. We had Skies all the way over in tower, but when he went for the peak, he could not land his shots because he did not fully commit to that engagement. Instead of trying to take the fight, he kind of half committed. That's how I'll say that. And that really can't work on when you're peeking out of tower. You're taking a gamble. Either A, they're watching for that flank and you're dead, or B, they're not watching for that flank and you get a kill, or C, I guess, there's nobody there and you move on with your life. But if you break it and then kind of peek into it but don't really, you don't give yourself ample opportunity to get the kill, and then you're just basically wasting time at that point, which is fine. You're a defender, you're able to do that, but you also give away the fact that you are in tower. And that means the anchors are going to be light, which will prompt, and it did prompt, Nora to get a little bit more aggressive on the site. You saw the Ying forcing his way in through the window. You saw the Habana just walk in through the main hallway and get a kill. I mean, these little things, they add up, and they again, you're giving out information when you make a play like that and you don't see any reward. It's just a little bit of a cascade, but it ultimately resulted in Obey's loss there.
So we find Obey now having taken their foot off of that gas pedal for just a second, possibly, and have completely let this slip away from them. A crushing blow would be if Nora-Rengo able to take this round. Of course, it won't be the end. This could be the penultimate round. We could possibly see Nora-Rengo go through this 2-0.
Yep.
But if I'm Obey, I know it's not technically a must-win, but I'm looking at this round as a must-win. Because if you're not taking this, you've lost all your momentum. You've allowed Nora-Rengo to take 4 rounds in a row. It does, it actually looked like Waka had missed for a second there as he tried to get the Ash charge through the barricade, but no, it will land quite successfully at the feet of Maman, the Ella playing inside a generator. He'll fall off. He'll retreat into small dorms with Bosco playing in there too.
So this is really good control for JJ. He's not going to be pressuring from the windows like last time, so a clear change on the strategy for Nora. But having Armory means he cuts off the rotation from Skies until Attic late. He does still have one of his castle barricades, interestingly. I'm not sure what the plan is there. And he's going to be able to apply some pressure to the Armory hallway through that window, or not. Or he can just go downstairs. Either way, a dynamic position to play, and I think that's definitely the right call from Skies here to move downstairs instead of trying to push up, as it is being held. Adam with a kill onto Waka, so there goes the Ash. This is one of the fastest rounds we've seen so far in the entire match. I mean, we've been seeing actually a lot of that recently from Nora. They've been really getting aggressive, and it's usually worked out for them, but so far here, it's actually going the opposite direction.
And this is the way they've been using Waka and Nora-Rengo, is that he will often be spawning on his own. He'll come in, he'll do some solo entry, and then he'll meet up with his team and possibly get a kill or 2 or 3 or however many he wants to get. He's been much more restrained on attack than he has been on defense. I know that you pointed out that he was being a bit too aggressive and just peeking things he didn't really need to peek. Really, I mean, you can do that on attack, obviously, but it's a different scenario that you find yourself in. But definitely taking the Ash of Waka off the board is a great start for Obey. And I say start when there's still there's 60 seconds left. Shin, though, Adam, who'd gotten the kill earlier, will be punished by Shin. And we'll be back at a 4v4.
Yeah, so Nora gonna be able to equalize, and there go the smokes, and here comes the rest of the utility. Benji with the pre-fire, though, reading the obvious push from Mariu. Perfect timing for Benji to get that headshot. Bosco also gets JJ, and doesn't look like Nora's going to be able to fight back here. Shin on the west window. Crazy doing his typical push downstairs. There's no one, though, to fight him immediately. Through the floor, it looked like you might have seen an Obey player have the angle, but he didn't capitalize. Benji's going to be downed at the top of white. Crazy has a lesion in his foot, but he gets also eliminated from Skies all the way from Attic, and Bosco with the final kill. Obey will put themselves on match point, so at least they finally managed to get the edge. But still, we're one step away from overtime now.
And this is the first successful, I know that it seems like we've been on defense for quite a while for Obey here. It's their first successful defensive victory. You need this. You need to be buoyed by this win. Obviously, if you lose it, you're on match point. That's bad. Obviously, it's also series point. That's bad. But for confidence, you need to be able to blunt Nora-Rengo's momentum. And for Benji in particular, the way he played that on white stairs, perfectly. The moment that smoke went in, he pre-fired it. A common pre-fire, sure, but Nora-Rengo had pushed through the opening into generator. He gets the kill, and as the Candela is going off, possibly if somebody from Nora-Rengo there is to go trying to get a trade off onto him, he runs into the stairwell, looks away, not only gets the kill through the smoke, which means that the smoke is now useless, but also the Candela doesn't find its mark. It was a great play from Benji, and then of course he just needed to kill time holding on those stairs, and the last two members of Nora-Rengo pushed him. But then you had Skies rotating. Overall for Obey, they got their roamers back to site when they needed to. They lost Adam, but that was really all that they had to deal with. And then after that, it was just locking down the site push. Losing Waka early on, of course, hurting Nora-Rengo because they didn't have that extra fragging potential nor speed to be able to get into site.
Yeah, I think Waka is one of those players that actually... Lurker's not a role that you typically see played in Siege. You know, usually on defense you'll call it a roamer. On attack, you'll call it a flank watch. Right. But the way that Waka does those roles, it's a little bit more lurky. It's you know, not trying to take the full engagement, but trying to be on the precipice of that engagement, just barely right there. And it's been working out pretty well for Nora so far. And not having him when they went for the actual push in the last round did hurt them a lot. I like this mute jammer setup from Skies. You can see he's adapted it a little bit when the which is funny, because there is no Dokkaebi anymore. But when the Dokkaebi phone call would come down, as you would expect in this round, Skies will have a mute jammer to cover him. However, again, not going to be relevant this time. Of course, he doesn't know that. It's very reasonable to assume that Dokkaebi will be 6-picked into. She's a very powerful operator. Interesting that Nora, on that note, interesting that Nora hasn't chosen to bring her.
They're running the Jackal instead. The first time that we've seen Jackal between these two teams, we'll probably see him if we go to Bank. We will probably see him a fair amount, as he is quite popular on that map. But yeah, a Jackal being run obviously for the smokes. You have the secondary shotgun if need be. But Jackal's ability, I mean, yeah, is that a direct response to how the roamers were able to get back to site with relative impunity in the last round? Because, I mean, Oregon's not really a map where you need a Jackal.
It's very possible that they're just worried about those potential flanks. And I think it's rightfully so. You can see Obey has roamers right now stacked up. I mean, looks like it's just Adam, actually. But he's still a factor. And Waka's going to be able to shut him down in the entrance to Meeting Hall pretty swiftly, thanks to good teamwork from the Jackal, from the droners, just in general. And now Nora has not only top floor control, but they also have gotten themselves an early kill relatively easy. And I say early, we're halfway through the round now. So this is a little bit of a divert back to the olden attacks that we've been seeing a lot of in this match, which is just slow.
last time around, they basically traded off Adam for Waka in the previous round, and about a minute of the clock, too. This time around, they traded Adam for about a minute of time, but nobody from Nora-Rengo. But we are in the stages of an execute. As you can see, the smoke get tossed in from Shin. He's just kind of waiting at the moment to see exactly where they're going to go. The smoke's being reciprocated from Bosco, and we'll see another smoke grenade waiting to get primed through a hatch inside of meeting. On the line right now is match point for Obey. Candelas will signal the entry push, and that's JJ coming in, but Benji is there to greet him.
Oh.
An LMG will just tear right through. 30 seconds to go, and now Skies, as well as Benji, will double up by the closet wall. No push down white stairs at all. Waka, though, will get one, but Benji just playing around that deployable shield. A good position for him to be in. Maman inside of the B site, just waiting to see. There's one prone. Skies will walk right in. I don't know if he got the down. A big kill from Skies. 2 from Skies. It'll be a 2v1. It's going to be Benji versus Mariu, as Skies has been down. Mariu will finish off Skies, and he will have to push that Maestro. Will he be able to get it in time? No! Benji will give Obey the round, and with that, the match to tie us up 1-1. This is not over yet. These two teams so close to one another. It'll be another 6-4. This time, for your boys in blue, Obey.
And Benji really the hero of that round. You gotta hand it to him. Getting the kill on through the hallway, through smoke, through Candelas, knowing his position well and using that LMG well. Full utilization. And Skies as well. 12 kills for him, 11 for Benji. And they got all of the kills between them, if I'm not mistaken.
And I mean,